Today on the show, we learn about personal grooming and personal space issues. Don't touch my stuff. Hello there, and welcome to The Lost Cantina, the podcast that explores the stories, characters, and themes behind our favorite galaxy far, far away. As always, I'm Jaden.
And hello, I'm Kevin.
And today we are talking about AHSOKA Episode 2.
I really enjoyed this episode, a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. This one's a little bit more conversation heavy.
Yes.
And, lore heavy.
The thing that the Disney Plus shows have been doing recently is that they've been releasing 2 or even 3 episodes to start, which those in themselves are like a mini movie to set up the rest of the show. And I really appreciate that because we're getting a nice little just mini movie to launch the plot forward. And I think this was definitely a nice bookend. So as always, if you haven't seen episode 1 or episode 2, please go back and watch those, and then we'll be able to discuss that. But before we actually get into the discussion, we've got to do a little bit of housekeeping. We love to hear from our listeners, so please email us at thelostcantinapod@gmail.com with your thoughts and episode ideas. You might hear one in a future video.
Woo!
Special.
Our teams are always streaming weekly on Twitch. I myself stream weekly on Twitch. Jaden once in a while has streamed on Twitch. But you could find us streaming mostly. The team is streaming on twitch.tv/lore_party. And of course, you can connect with us on Instagram and X. I can't. It's so
The script
stupid.
still says Twitter. We need to change that. It's not that anymore. Come follow us on the discount porn site known as x.com at The Lost Cantina. Once again, if you haven't seen episode 1 or episode 2 of Disney Plus's AHSOKA, please go watch that now before we get into our discussion. All right, you have been warned. So let's get started. We last left off with Sabine getting fucking stabbed.
Yo.
And not dying, because if you get medical attention quickly enough, you will be fine. So stop commenting, peoples on the internet being like, well, Qui-Gon, he died. It's yeah, because he was in he was in the equivalent of the engine room on the planet when he died.
The fact that she was able, AHSOKA was able to get there so quickly also means that they were probably able to get her back to, the medical area very quickly as well.
Yeah. She actually wakes up in her hospital room, and AHSOKA is standing over top of her. She's communing with Sabine through the Force. Sabine is having a negative emotional dream similar to the one that she had in the last episode, but now with memories from the last couple of days. AHSOKA wakes her up, and Sabine tells her, hey, I unlocked the map, and it showed 2 galaxies.
For those of you who know, another galaxy in the Star Wars universe probably triggers you and makes you, absolutely lose your mind.
Just basically, if you don't know about, there's a group of creatures called the Yuzon Vong. And if those are out there, holy shit, Dave Filoni, you madman. If they bring the Vong, God, that would be awesome.
At this point, I just think they're just going to let him do whatever the hell he wants.
I think so.
Now, unfortunately, Sabine wasn't able to decipher the map. She unlocked it, but she wasn't able to decipher it. And her records were also destroyed. Those droids that went into her room shot up her stuff. Basically, they just shot up all of her records of what she was able to uncover.
Yeah.
But AHSOKA realizes that one of the droids wasn't found because she said, how many droids attacked you? She said 2, but she only got 1 that escaped. So she's like, where's the other droid? Sabine says that she's going to help her. And AHSOKA's like, nah. You've done enough. That's what she goes, "You've done enough."
You've done
And she
enough.
says it with like that, yeah, she says it with that like inflection of like kind of mean.
Thanks for
but
fucking up,
also,
idiot.
yeah, it's not the nicest answer.
So we cut back to Skull and Haiti arriving at a mini Stonehenge on the planet Cetos. And I love this because I was like, why does this orb look familiar? They have the orb sitting in the center of this thing, and I was like, why does the orb look familiar? It's the orb from Treasure Planet. Like, it literally just looks like the orb from Treasure frickin' Planet. And I was like,
I remember telling you, being like, wait a minute, hold on a second, and like I think I sent you like a meme or something of it.
So all those people bitching for a live action Treasure Planet movie, there you go. It's called AHSOKA Episode 2.
Hey, it's not bitching. It's my favorite Disney movie. Leave me alone. I love it.
Hey, it's okay to be wrong.
What? What's your favorite Disney movie?
So it's
Star Wars Episode 7?
What's the movie you like again?
Treasure Planet. It's fucking awesome.
That's a weird way to say Atlantis. Anyways.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll give it to you. Okay. All right. Fine.
He tells Haiti to contact Elsbeth. And so Haiti goes and she calls Morgan Elsbeth. So Morgan's going to arrive on the planet to see what they've uncovered.
There's a really cool thing about the stone pillars. They're all black and they have this like gold lines and like circles, kind of like a map itself. Everything looks like it's definitely supposed to be there. It's pretty cool. So back on the comms tower, AHSOKA is reliving the night. She's going through from the ground all the way up to the elevator, everything. She's reliving that night through the forest, kind of communing to like what happened there to try to get a better understanding herself of what happened, because she wasn't there the whole time. So she's going through Sabine's room, and Sabine's cat is standing outside of the room. So the cat won't go in the room. AHSOKA looks at this and is like, okay, something's weird. So she walks in the room and she's just kind of staring around, looking at what got destroyed. And as she's investigating, she finds that little message from Ezra, and she taps it and she sees Ezra pop up. And we see in the background, creepy as hell, these legs just slowly descending from the ceiling. And it's the droid. And of course, the cat hisses, saves the day. And AHSOKA is like, and just takes it out right away with ease. Like, no problem.
Yep. But very importantly, she cuts its head off, but she doesn't destroy the head.
There you go.
She brings the droid's head back to Sabine, who explains that she can actually look into the memories of the droid because its memory circuits are still attached. She's going to have to push some current through the droid's backup systems to activate the memory cord, but this could lead to a tiny case of explosions. Kind of like when you cram for a midterm.
Yes. And Hera is there. She's just hanging out as a hologram. And everybody's debating on like, well, should we do this? And Hera, she's like, I say we go for it.
Which again is such a Rebels thing. Her just being like, yeah, I say go for it. It's like, you're not here, asshole. Yeah.
Huang is just like, because you're a hologram.
There's this great little tense sequence where like the power starts building up while Sabine's trying to search, and then she powers it up and she's trying to find the information while the thing starts powering up, and David Tennant just pulls the plug right before the bomb goes off, and Sabine like stops, she looks and she goes, "I have it. I know where the droid came from.
The head came from Corellia." Which is a New Republic like shipyard
world
kind of
now.
World.
It was Imperial. That's a very big distinction we should make. It was Imperial right up until the New Republic took over.
Yes, and this planet, which it just so happens, was where Morgan Elsbeth had factories.
Yes.
So she owned a bunch of factories there. Hera says the Imperial operation should have been disbanded, but turns out nobody ever checked. So nobody, this galactic government here, brand new. They don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's a side note to explain incompetence in the sequel trilogy. Completely dismantling your military 10 seconds after winning a galactic war, maybe not the best idea. You lose the infrastructure, like make sure the people you took down are actually gone.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I'm just an average person who thinks about how you just killed an evil empire and how they're still fucking evil.
Yeah, it's not great. It's just it makes me almost not have a lot of sympathy because like after watching everything that's been going on with like during Mando
Yeah.
and then like this, I'm like, what the hell are these people doing? Like I get like and then like going from like Andor and all that, like everything was just so I don't want to say organized, but like there was structure
Yeah.
in the Old Republic, and now not the the Old Republic,
Yeah.
the prequel Republic, and then obviously the Imperials had this like fascist structure,
Yeah.
but now because watching how Andor's, Luthen's setting up the whole rebel stuff,
It just feels disingenuous. It feels
it makes sense though. It makes sense that they would be like all over the place because they were all over the place as a rebellion too. And it's just like the same thing. They're back to being like Luthen. What's going on?
I know, but like, hey, let's make sure the guys who make weapons aren't making them for bad guys. It seems like a very simple thing that they should have done, but
correct.
But we need the sequels to make sense. Love it or hate it, Dave Filoni is very good at bridging between mainline movies, and I think this is one of his attempts to like duct tape over the cracks.
Makes sense. Yep. Makes sense. So Ahsoka leaves and tells Sabine that she can't come. Obviously.
Yep.
She needs to recover. Yeah, that's the excuse. We'll go with that. Which obviously, that's not the answer Sabine wants. And Hera tells her through hologram that she did a good job. Because she did. She got the map. She was able to unlock it. We found out then where this droid came from. So we know where the bad guys came from. We know what's going on. To a degree. We got info. Sabine's upset since they haven't seen each other in years. Her and Ahsoka. And the first thing she says she can do for her, she does it wrong.
Yeah.
So she's obviously putting a lot on herself, and us as the audience were like, you did a lot. Don't worry about it. And same with her. She's like, no. It's okay. You didn't fuck up. You
did good, kid. So now we're going to jump into a very heavy lore scene. We're jumping back to Skull and Haiti. Morgan Elsbeth shows up to activate the map. Skull says, this place is old. It was not built by the Jedi. And Elsbeth explains that this place was built by an ancient people from a distant galaxy. Red alarm should be going off in your head for those of you who love the Legends. Correct. That seagull screaming in my ear is correct. She activates the map using her Night Sister powers, which are... I've never been clear on this. It's like they're the Force, but it's like evil Force, but also like not dark side Force. It's like the Force's bastard cousin.
Yeah, honestly, it looked like she just turned on a pilot light, like on a grill.
Yeah, she cooked
the orb, and it just green flame, like
she cooked the orb.
Ah, look, the orb floats.
The orb was an egg that unlocked the future of the Empire. We see the galaxy that's being represented by the physical orb as it produces a hologram, and Morgan explains that this is our galaxy. And then it does an entire hologram of multiple other galaxies that appear around them. And I'd love to see if someone could see if the Milky Way galaxy was mixed in there, because that'd be very interesting if it was.
That'd be cool.
Because it is it's a galaxy far, far away, but it'd be interesting if they have a map that shows it.
I mean, every galaxy is far, far away, so,
And then one particular galaxy shows up center stage on one of the pillars.
And the map moves and produces the same lines that Sabine saw. And Elsbeth says, and that is our destination, where Grand Admiral Thrawn is banished. So, okay, we have confirmation that there are other civilizations outside of this galaxy.
Yes.
Now. Like, now we fully have it, because there was a civilization here from another galaxy that created this place that also now is kind of... We know now. Now we're like, fuck. I was sitting there, like, watching this scene, like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's a big deal because of things that we will talk about at the end of the episode.
Skull calls it the pathway to Perdia. And he explains that it's an old story that children in the Jedi Temple would, like, talk about. Like, it's like a folklore. It's like a little fun little thing kids talk about. Tantalore! Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was just triggered there. Tantalore! And anyway, he uses the actual term fairy tales. Like, that's what it is to him.
Yeah.
And she says, when he says fairy tales, Elsbeth says, yes, which are based on truths. So she's, like, basically saying, like, yeah, man, this story is actually fairly accurate.
Now, Skull is clearly gifted in the Force.
Oh, yeah.
We see multiple times where he attunes with the Force and he trusts it. But he seems to say that the path forward feels clouded. And then we hear some Night Sister whispers, and we hear a voice say, Morgan. Elsbeth takes this as a sign and says that Thrawn is calling out to her through time and space. You speak of dreams, vague and fractured hopes, Skull says. And then in the typical Night Sister fashion, she replies, the threads of fate do not lie.
All this cryptic bullshit.
Yeah, she believes that it is fate for Thrawn to return and rule the galaxy.
And it's like willed by the universe,
Yes.
the Force itself. Like, this is it. This is what's supposed to happen. So she turns the map off and explains that her ship, the Eye of Sion, which is a cool fucking name, by the way. I thought that it's a cool name.
Very cool.
The Eye of Sion is on its way to the planet. She's going to go into orbit, and she's going to start getting stuff ready. She wants them to prepare for the arrival of the ship, and we finally get the name of the figure that we saw in the final episode, that like Black Knight looking figure, the guy who looks like, right out of Monty Python.
Yep.
The name is Marek. Marek.
Do we want to address the rumors now?
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Okay, so some people noticed that at the end of the credits, it says additional voices by Sam Witwer. And so there are some out there who are theorizing that Marek is actually Starkiller.
I'd fuck with that. 100% I'd fuck with that. That'd be so cool.
There's no way that is Starkiller. But
I just want Starkiller.
We all want Starkiller. Here's the thing. If it was Starkiller and if it was canon Starkiller, Ahsoka is dead.
Oh, yeah, no, she's dead. Like, he was just playing around later on. But, like, it would be so cool to, like,
That's the problem is that Starkiller is so overpowered. Literally no one can beat him besides, like, 40-year-old Luke, who's basically a god in Legends.
Look, all the thing I'm going to say about Starkiller, the only thing I'm going to say about Starkiller is this. It makes sense for a video game. This is not a video game.
Yep.
Just fucking nerf him. I don't care.
All right.
I don't care.
All right.
I just want to see Sam Witwer. I just want the man to be in fucking Star Wars.
That's fair.
I love him so much.
To the point to it being Sam Witwer is he does wield an Inquisitor lightsaber. If you look at the lightsaber later on when we talk about it, it is an Inquisitor blade. So I'm not saying no, but I'm saying prepare for it to just be Joe Schmo from accounting.
You're not saying no. You're saying, we'll see, honey.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, that's cute, hon. I'm glad you're contributing to the theories on the message boards.
Skull assures Elsbeth that he's going to find his task, and Elsbeth then says, okay, fine, I'm out.
Yeah.
As she's leaving, we get some really great insight into the relationship between this master and apprentice of Skull and Haiti. She says, Master, what happens when we find Thrawn? Now, mind you, also, she doesn't talk. Like, this is, like, the first time she's, like,
this is the first time she's spoken.
Like, the last episode, she said, like, maybe one line, and it's like, you're a witch, and, like, that was it. So he answers her, and he says, for some war, for others, a new beginning. And she says, and for us? And he says, power such as you've never dreamed. So clearly, they are much more Sithy than we thought when he says power, and he obviously wants it. I would say they're a little bit more Sithy than Dark Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, I find it interesting that she automatically knew that, like, when he said for others a new beginning, she knew that he didn't give a shit about the new beginning part. Like, she knows he could care less about, like, the whole, just Empire bullshit.
I guess to play off of that, I think Skull clearly, he survived Order 66 and he survived the entire reign of the Empire and then he survived the fall of the Empire. So he has seen what role a Force user plays in the Imperial government. He knows what someone who wields the dark side could do in the Empire. So basically, he says for some a new beginning, for us, power. What he's talking about is specifically they could become the Emperor and Vader of this new administration.
If they play their cards right, they could clearly do it.
Yeah, because Thrawn could clear the path to power, and in their minds, Thrawn would make them his Vader and Emperor. You know, like that would be what their roles are in the new order.
Yeah.
And because here's the thing. This is the thing about Thrawn. Thrawn does not desire power.
Mm-hmm.
Thrawn desires to do his fucking job.
Yep.
His job is to destroy the rebels. That was his gig. He was already a Grand Admiral in the fleet. He doesn't give a fuck about climbing the ranks. He's already done it. You know, they always say make your job a hobby. Like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Thrawn loves to prove how fucking smart he is. And the best way to do that is by fucking killing other people. By using people to kill other people.
Come on, man. Do a Rubik's Cube or something. Just do a Rubik's Cube.
Nope. I'm going to make this guy murder this guy.
Yeah. Manipulation. That's his biggest hobby.
He loves it.
So at the end of that, we get Skull instructing Haiti to go to Corellia and assist Merrick. So he does not want this to fail. He's invested. So he's invested.
Back on Corellia, AHSOKA arrives and meets Hera at the shipyard. And they connect with, in the script it says greeted, but no, they meet Min Weaver, who is very upset to see them. He is the regional supervisor of this facility. He tells them that when the Empire fell, all Imperial assets were dissolved and redistributed, including Morgan Elsbeth's.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and he's brushing them off. He's like, what are you guys making me do this for? Like, come on, I got deadlines, I got quotas, business, numbers. And they're like, shut up, show us the facility. And he's like, no, far too busy. And then Hera pulls her general card out and says, you know, I could make this a more formal inspection, which would shut down production. And he's basically like, fine, come on in and check out our facility. Not going to find anything.
The look at his face is like, no, never mind. And by the way, he's played by Peter Jacobson, who has been in a lot of stuff.
Yep. He's one of those guys that, like, he's a great background character. Like, you see him and you go, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was in House.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody watched House.
That little show that nobody saw. Yeah. I to be fair, I never saw House, so I just know
what?
of him. Yeah.
Oh my God. I fucking love House.
I'm scared of British men with American accents. Terrifying.
It's so good. But yes, he's one of the people from House's team, for those who want to know. He now goes through the supply facility with everybody. They're on this hover car going through the whole thing. And he explains that Elsbeth used to supply facilities and just supplies themselves to create hyperdrive generators used in Imperial Star-class destroyer ships. And that's like the facility's fucking massive.
Yes.
It's a big-ass place. And we see parts literally everywhere. I mean, you want to talk like, remember when Cal Kestis, if those who play the game, Cal Kestis is running around in the first one, that's pretty much it.
We're seeing that this is a lot like some of the other in the New Republic era that we've seen, where like these facilities are taking ex-Imperial Star Destroyers, tearing them down and turning them into things that the New Republic government can use. I want to say for the record, I think this is the stupidest part of the new canon. Why the fuck would you tear down a perfectly good ship when you could just still use it?
I can't explain this one. Okay, I just can't.
Yeah, no, it's like the ship still works. Why are you tearing it apart to make different ships out of it? It's like, no, a super, like, literally the description of a Star Destroyer in canon is that one Star Destroyer can subjugate a planet.
Yeah.
All you have to do is change the wording there. Protect a planet. If you're the New Republic marketing department, you paint the freaking thing red, put some New Republic logos on the side, and you go, hey, look what we've done. We've repurposed this weapon of war into a weapon of peace, much like we can do with these ex-Imperials. Everyone gets a second chance in the New Republic.
Maybe you should run for office here in the New Republic.
I make too much fucking sense. They wouldn't hire me.
So he explains that they're taking these things apart now and using the cores for the defense fleet. So they're using parts of it for the defense fleet. AHSOKA asks about the employees because everybody starts staring at them. And she's like, she asks, are they Imperial staff? Like, are they former Imperial staffs? He says yes, because there's no way that they would have been able to, remain operational.
Yeah.
You need the staff. If you
Yep.
put everybody in jail who worked on this, you wouldn't have your staff. That's how he explains it.
Yeah.
And he says that you're going to find ex-Imperials at every level of the Republic government.
Which has some real-world parallels. I know I love to talk about real-world
Oh,
parallels.
yes, it does.
For example, for those of you who don't know, when Nazi Germany was defeated, the Allies came in and said, we want Germans to run Germany. And the Germans said, great.
Yeah.
And they said, is there anyone here who's competent who didn't work for the Nazis?
And nobody raised their hands.
And no one raised their hands because I think if I remember the statistic right, the new government that formed after the Nazi government was toppled was composed of like 72% of former Nazi officials.
Yeah.
Because there just was no one left because they were all either dead or deported. Basically, anyone who wasn't a Nazi was either killed or removed. So they were like, crap, we'll just have to denazify you.
And of course, like, the United States, we had NASA, which was ran by a bunch of ex-Nazis.
Yep.
Like, that's the thing. Like, you have all these... War sucks, man. War does some shitty stuff. And the aftermath of war can be equally fucking weird.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. So while they're having this conversation, they begin to notice like the workers are like turning and staring at them as they go by. Very reassuring, I'm sure. Walking into the lion's den of a facility that you're 90% sure is evil.
Oh, yeah.
And when asked about the workers' loyalty, the manager, he just says, not at all. The average worker doesn't care about the nuances of galactic politics, which shows just how much their corporate superior, like, he doesn't believe in them at all. Of course, I also think it might be a smokescreen for what comes later. He says they have loyalty so long as they're paid. And Hera says, and you? And he says, I'm a businessman, General. My loyalty is to my investors. This scene, it encompasses the greed that also exists in every universe. These guys just want to get paid. They got to feed their families. It's a hard time. Currency keeps changing. That was actually one of the things I loved in Mando when he was like, I can pay you in Imperial credits. That's no good here. What about Republic credits? It's worthless. How about calamari flan? Like, I loved that shit. That was great.
Yeah. Hera tells Ahsoka that she thinks that it was a good idea to bring Sabine in. So now they're just like talking, the two of them. And Ahsoka doesn't think that Sabine, she did a good job. She's like, no, she didn't really, look at where we're at right now. And Hera's like, yeah, exactly. She says she did everything you asked. Like, she literally, and look at where we are now. Like, we're on a trail. We're figuring something out. She opened the map, so what if it's lost? She found out where the droid came from.
Yep.
And now we're here. Like, it's a whole... Hera shows that she can see the pathways of, like, the positivity in their situation and, like, where it's taking them, while Ahsoka is clearly kind of, like, disgruntled by it. And I think that's just a Skywalker, family lineage thing.
Well, the other thing, too, is that, Hera is not Sabine's mother, but she was one of the people who raised her during the rebellion. So, like, Sabine, in Sabine, Hera sees the potential that she has. Otherwise, she would never have joined the Ghost Crew in the first place.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka, I always considered her like an honorary member of the Ghost Crew. She was never an official member in my mind because she just kind of showed up in certain episodes. I mean, she was in there a significant amount, but not enough to be considered like, she's not on the Rex level. Like, I would consider Rex a member of the Ghost Crew.
Got it. Makes sense.
And she also, we haven't seen the training, but she has the benefit of like trying to train Sabine in the Force, which a lot of people too were talking about that, where they were like, oh, since when is Hera Force sensitive? Or Sabine, since when is Sabine Force sensitive? There actually is a Rebels episode where Kanan talks about he feels the Force in her. It's just really, really weak because she's mentally blocking it because of her Mandalorian upbringing. Which is a cool detail, I think.
That's a cool detail.
A Mandalorian Jedi would, we've been fighting for a Mandalorian Jedi for a long time now, we in the fandom. So
that makes you think about Grogu, though. Yeah. Is Grogu just going to forget everything and just like block it out because he's going to have a Mandalorian upbringing? Like, how, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a fun thing to think about. We'll get to see him in more stuff soon.
So now Hera looks at Ahsoka and says that she thinks she should take Sabine back as her apprentice. And clearly Ahsoka's like, what?
Yep.
Like, nah. And even Ahsoka says, she's like, both of us are kind of past that at this point in our lives. And Hera argues that they're good for each other.
Yes.
And they provide structure to each other's lives, you know, and like this is it'll benefit both of them. And Ahsoka argues that she isn't ready, and not necessarily just Sabine, but also Ahsoka. And she even says, she's like, you know, she's not ready. And Hera's like, well, when? How do you know?
Yeah.
She's like, you just do. It's like a feeling. And then she even says, she goes, she'll know when she's ready.
Yes. Which I love.
That's a, you know, it's up to her choice to be ready. Like, she needs to be ready. I can't just be like, I want you to join me. And you're like, oh,
Sabine is working through her own issues.
Yeah, she's got her own shit.
Honestly, I think, again, that like coming from Hera being like a de facto mother figure for Sabine, it's like Sabine, you know, she just sees the best in her child, whereas Ahsoka sees the real world blockings.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of Sabine, we cut back to where her wounds have been healed. They've healed up very quickly. Modern medicine is great. You know, Lothal has evolved from the backwater world it once was, and now it's a thriving metropolis. So they have access to great medical health care. Shut up about the stabbing. Shut up about the stabbing, audience. Ahsoka's droid calls the recovery repairs, which technically he's not wrong. He goes over the lightsaber and actually says, hey, you know, this is your lightsaber. I wanted you to have it. And she goes, no, that's Ezra's lightsaber. And he says he may have constructed it, but he passed it on to her. And since then, she has made her own modifications.
She's made it her own.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you have not been keeping up with your training. And she's like, absolutely not. Clearly, she hasn't been, like, from what we saw in her in the first episode, like, she's just been drifting.
Clearly, the fact that she's in a hospital bed right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, well, even before the fight, you know, you can still lose to a superior opponent, but, like, she was doing no training at all.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, like, this parallels what Ahsoka says, where Ahsoka's like, you know, it's up to her. Sabine thinks it's up to Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And she even says she quit on me.
Yeah.
Which, you know, kind of true. We know that's true. And he tells her, you have to move forward. The past is the past.
And speaking of moving forward, Sabine asks if they were, if they could have opened the map. She's like, would you guys have been able to open the map without me? Would you have, like, if you were able to, like, would you come and join me? Like, would you have called me? Like,
yeah,
you guys,
which is a great question. It's a great question.
It's a fair call out because, like, in terms of moving forward, like, would they have just moved forward without her? Because
Ahsoka has shown in the past she didn't, you know, she wasn't trying to make a team. She wasn't trying to build the Avengers.
Yeah. And he says it's just that's irrelevant. He's like, that's an irrelevant question. And she's like, no. Without Hera, they would have, you know, not have even reached out. It wasn't even like she wasn't even their first choice. Maybe
we tried calling Dr. Aphra, but Disney's not ready to show her in live action yet.
But yeah, Ahsoka's never been thinking about her, you know, like that. She calls that out. He says this. He says, to be fair, you never indicated that you wanted to come back.
Yep.
This line of reasoning holds some water on both sides, honestly, because they both didn't indicate.
They're just not communicating. They're just not talking about what they want.
But what Sabine is lacking is kind of viewing like the present rather than dwelling on the past. Like she's so like
she's thinking I failed. That's it. Whereas
she's like, you didn't call me this and that. And he's like, hey, guess what? We're here right now. We've already been, this has been days later. Like, you're here right now. Let's focus on now.
Now we come back to Ahsoka and Hera. They're in the main control center area of the hangar. And they're told that all the deconstruction and then reconstruction can fund many things for the Republic. And Ahsoka asks, like what? And he says that their investors get to have first look at all the unique hardware. And as he says this, Hera sees a massive hyperdrive core that's actually from a super Star Destroyer that was decommissioned. Which, again, are you fucking kidding me? You tore down a super Star Destroyer?
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there to the why, but continue.
Basically, Hera sees that and she's like, whoa, we're not building anything big enough to need a super Star Destroyer hyperdrive. And they begin asking him about it, and the manager's basically like, it's classified. And
It's for the defense fleet.
Yeah, he's like, it's for the defense fleet, it's classified. And Hera's like, it's not classified to me. I've declassified it. Show it to me right now.
Show it to me right now.
Show it to me now.
It's declassified.
I'm going to make a perfect phone call, and you're going to declassify it.
I thought about declassifying it.
Therefore, it's declassified. That was our best Jabba the Hutt impersonations, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed those.
I love the line, though. She's just like, I'm a general. Nothing's classified for me. Like, that's just badass. Like, I just think that's cool that she's, like, asserting this, like, great authority she has.
Which is very Hera.
Oh, yeah. He calls over a C1 droid, and Ahsoka asks about, like, the other kinds of droids that they have at the facility. So, he calls over the C1, and he's just, like, going over stuff with it. And so, as she says this, some of the workers in the room kind of begin to give her, like, the side eye. They, like, start giving, like, the little stink eye, and, like, what is this lady asking questions for? And she gets the typical answer, obviously, from him, and he's like, load lifters, and just rattles off a bunch of construction droids. And she asks about the H1s, right?
HKs, Hunter Killers.
HKs, yeah.
Which, by the way,
HKs.
Old Republic, or KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, HKs, assassin droids.
Yep. And so she asks about the HKs, and he just looks at her, and he's like, now, granted, I can't tell if he knew or not, because he genuinely looked kind of shocked. He was just like, assassin droids? Like, no.
The way he looks in the end of the episode makes me think that he knew. But, like, I also think I think it'd be way more fun if he didn't, because I would love, like, the idea of, like, a Hydra situation. But, like, I'm pretty sure he knew, because he was being like, oh, it's classified. Like, I think he knew. It'd be hard for him not to know. But I would have loved, like, a Hydra situation where it's like the Empire is growing within the New Republic like a cancer. That would be fun.
Yeah. So he just says, like, no, we don't have assassin's droids. Like, what the heck? What's wrong with you? And the C1 blurts out that it's seen that type of droid.
Yep.
Because it prevented it from completing an inventory task like 5 rotations ago. And he instantly, this is what made me go, what the hell? Because he turns and he goes, why didn't you put in a report?
Oh, that is a good point.
Because that's what got me, was like, he's just like shocked. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, why didn't you put in a report? And the C1 says that it was a high level security clearance that the droid had. And it says that the droid, because then they were like, well, where's this droid now? And then it says, well, the droid is now on that ship that's carrying that hyperdrive that's about to leave.
Which freaks Hera out. So she's like, hey, stop that ship. And the crew says no.
And it's already had clearance.
Yeah, it's already a clearance. We can't. It's like, well, I'm unclearancing and I'm a general. You need to stop that. And then all of a sudden, one of the crew members stands up and pulls a blaster and just screams, for the Empire. And, like, the entire bridge crew just starts jumping them. And it's so cool. Like I said, that definitely felt like Hail Hydra. It definitely gave me Captain America 2 vibes.
Definitely.
Sick. Ahsoka and Hera, they take them all out. And then Hera goes to the Phantom. And Ahsoka just jumps straight out the window.
Like a badass.
Yeah, it's awesome. Ahsoka's actually met by Merrick, looking like the Black Knight from Monty Python.
I told you. So I said it earlier, and I really mean it. He really looks like him.
He's with one of the droids that they're looking for. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So it's Ahsoka versus Merrick and HK Assassin Droid, which she's clearly had no trouble with these guys so far.
Yeah. She takes out the droid pretty quickly.
This is my favorite sequence in the episode, by the way, what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, this is pretty badass. So Hera tells Chop, our favorite genocidal maniac.
I missed him so much. I missed my favorite war criminal.
Voiced by Dave Filoni.
He is voiced by Dave Filoni, which I will say this, they made his garbles a lot more understandable in this versus Rebels. Rebels, it was gibberish.
Definitely.
This one, I'm like, oh, I know what the hell he's saying. I know what that little freak is saying.
Yeah. She tells Chop to fire up the engines, and they begin following the transport.
Yep.
Merrick takes off his cloak, and then everybody begins fighting, and it's this badass fight sequence. And he just, like, doesn't say a word.
No. He has said nothing so far. The other theory that people have is that that's Ezra under there.
Yeah, I thought of that, too.
I don't love that one, to be honest, because, like, how the fuck would he have gotten back from the other
doesn't make
galaxy?
Any sense to
it makes
me.
No sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So we get the back and forth between the fight sequence and the chase sequence. And Hera tells the transport, she's like, hey, stop. And then they just turn around and start firing at her. It's like, no, they don't say a word. They just start firing at her. The ship was really cool too, carrying the transport. It looked really
It
sick.
looked really cool.
It looked really creepy. It looked like a familiar ship from something else. I don't know what, but the backside of the ship looked really cool. And then in typical murderous fashion, Chop just says to shoot it down. He's like, shoot it down.
He's like, shoot it down. And she's like, no, I can't. It'll hit the city. And that motherfucker just goes, is that bad?
Yeah, like he's like, she's like, you're nuts, dude. Like, no, I'm not doing this.
Like,
he's
I
crazy.
love the fact that like the entire fucking Ghost crew knows that he's a murdering psychopath, but it's like, we don't have enough time to deal with this. Like we don't. It's too much to unpack to like fix this, so we're just not going to. And just aim this fucking missile of chaos away from us.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's funny too, because they start going to like find a tracking device, because she's like, oh, we're gonna put a tracker on it. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, did you go through my stuff?
Yeah.
Because he can't find it. And he's like, you went through my stuff. And she's like, no, I didn't. And he's just like, there's just a bunch of shit. It's just junk. Yeah. It's like broken stuff that like clearly is not going to go in anything. He just like starts throwing it around, and he just like starts chucking shit out of there. And he's like, you took my stuff. And she's like, bro, just check like under the battery or whatever. And he's like, oh. And then he finds it. He's like, oh, hey, there it is. And then she's like, don't miss this time when you put the tracker on, please. And he's like, oh, miss. And he just like starts going back and forth telling her to shut up, basically. And it's really funny.
I love him so much.
It's
like,
great.
We forgot to mention too, like when he starts the ship, right? But then he goes to fucking sleep. And when he wakes up, he realizes that he's in a pursuit, and he gets mad and starts pounding on the ship with his little grippers.
It's so funny. So basically we end with like, he gets the tracker on the ship. Like they get really close, and he gets the tracker on, and right before they're about to like jump, like it's like they boom, like right away. And Merrick and the fight with AHSOKA ends. He throws his lightsaber out and jumps on his ship. He's rescued by Haiti, whatever, Haiti. He's rescued by her, and they end up escaping. But one thing that I thought was really cool was right before they escape, he calls his lightsaber to come back to him. Dude. And AHSOKA does this like little side like movement, and it comes from behind her, and it's
just
exactly
this slight little
it's a slight little nudge where the lightsaber misses her, and he already knew, like you could tell he knew like it wasn't gonna hit her, but that like little like turn where she just like dodges the lightsaber from behind her is exactly the same thing that Anakin Skywalker did on his fun little bridge ambush.
Yes.
Where he was gonna get shot at and stuff, and he just does the same little like it's just like the parallels are so good.
The casual confidence that Ahsoka has is portrayed in that little shot there, and I think it's
great.
It's probably now in my top 2 favorite Ahsoka things that I've ever seen her do. Number 1 is still
so badass.
Descending in the Siege of Mandalore. That is still like Jesus Christ. That is the coolest that's one of the coolest Star Wars things I've ever seen. We cut back to Sabine, who got back to her home at the communications tower, and she starts to take out her Mandalorian armor, and she places it all out in front of her, and she picks up her helmet, and she sets it she sets it down on the floor. She kneels down on the floor, and we get this really cool pseudo samurai shot where she wraps her hair. She puts a knife down on the table. She picks up the knife and cuts her hair off in one fluid motion, which is very similar to what Kanan Jarrus does in an episode of Rebels. So the pseudo samuraiisms are palpable in the Star Wars universe.
I thought it was really cool because it was just very much like a respecting her heritage kind of situation.
Yeah,
like,
she's going back to her roots.
She's going back to her roots, but she's like very much self-aware of it. Like she puts all the stuff out, like all the armor, she puts it out with like such respect.
Yep.
And like guidance of like her hand, like you could see her doing it like in a very like, when you say samurai, like it really was like such a respectful motion. And she just sits there and looks at her helmet for a while. Like she's just sitting there and she's like, okay, this is what I'm going to, and it's a very calming moment. It's like all the problems she was going through in the last 2 episodes, all that stress, it just like washes away. Like she's just like, okay, I'm coming to terms with stuff.
She knows now that she must continue the journey. She's decided that it's her letting go of the past and in embracing it's a weird parallel. She lets go of the past, but at the same time, she is embracing the parts of her past who make her who she is. She put the warrior aside, put it in a box because she thought those days were over when she failed with Ahsoka, and now she's decided, no, I have to go back.
Now back with Ahsoka, the remaining workers are being arrested. We see everybody getting arrested, and Hera can't fathom why these people are still loyal to the Empire. She's just like, what the, like, I don't understand how these people are so loyal. And Ahsoka says it's not loyalty, it's greed. And I found that to be an interesting viewpoint because at least one of them was definitely loyal, right? Like he screamed out, like, you know, for the Empire. Like he was definitely loyal.
Yep.
But clearly Elsbeth is, I would say, the top investor, right?
Yeah.
She's paying everyone. She's the
paying
investor.
everyone. Yeah.
So that clearly checks out as to why they'd be so quote unquote loyal. You know, they part, it just makes kind of sense. Like they're more loyal to money, if that makes sense. But obviously some of them were still loyal to her. And so,
well, I think the guys who like for the Empire and tried to shoot, like I think those guys were loyal to the Empire. I think the workers on the ground were loyal to greed. I think the manager was loyal to greed. I think he was just following the money and he didn't care where it went.
Yeah. So the two of them part ways and Ahsoka goes back to the ship and she turns around because she got a call from Sabine, who now her hair is short. She's got her Mandalorian armor on and she looks pretty much the same way she looked in Rebels.
Yes.
And she just simply says, I'm ready. And that's when we know, like, oh shit, Ahsoka was right. I'm ready. Like she got it.
So this was my second favorite part of the scene or of the episode. This scene. Sabine is standing in front of the mural that she painted to commemorate the Ghost Crew, and she touches Ezra's face, and she knows she's going to find them. She's going to find him. Ahsoka lands, and they find out that Chop has found the transport. They board the ship, and we get a nice sequence of them sitting in the cockpit, and Ahsoka lets her initiate the hyperdrive and calls her Padawan.
This scene
is an exact replica of the finale of Rebels.
Yes.
And we have confirmation that this is the live action. This is not she did it twice. No, this is a live action recreation of what happened in the last episode.
Now, there's a little bit of differences. Like in the last episode of Rebels, she puts her helmet on.
Yeah.
And there's a voiceover being said of what's going on in her head. And and obviously Ahsoka's wearing a completely different outfit. And like there's a little bit of subtlety differences, but
that's what happens when you translate to live action. You know, like these little things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like the finger placement was exactly perfect, which I saw like a lineup 1-to-1. I was like, that's incredible.
Now, this confirms us our timeline, by the way. So basically, Mandalorian takes place in between the quote-unquote end of Rebels and the actual last scene of Rebels.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of a time gap.
There's a epilogue that Sabine delivers.
Yeah, so that means that Mandalorian happened all after the end of Rebels.
Yes.
And then we get the last scene of Rebels right now. So even this last 2 episodes of Ahsoka take place right then and there. Now the final scene, in my opinion, I think it may be one of the most exciting. Just because I think it's so cool.
Yep.
We see the hyperdrive being installed into this massive circular ring. This is the eye, right? Like this is the ship.
The eye of what do they call it? The eye of Sion?
Yes, the eye of Sion. And this ring, it kind of, they zoom out and they show the whole thing. This is like the hyperdrive rings that the old Jedi ships had in the Republic, the former Republic. This is now just like 100 times scale larger. And it's using these massive hyperdrives. Because they're going to go to another fucking galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, they need it. So, we go to the main bridge of the ship. And it's sleek. It's stylish. It's got old Republic vibes. Like, it's
It
nice as
it
fuck,
definitely yeah,
right?
it definitely felt like Old Republic vibes, which makes me think that maybe this is an ancient design that they've just repurposed.
Yeah. Yep.
So
That's what I was thinking too.
in Legends canon, there is only one other time that the Old Republic ever actually attempted to leave the Star Wars galaxy, and it was called the Outbound Flight Project.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some similarities between that and this because they did have a ring. There was a ring design in the Outbound Flight ship, but the ring was connected to, I believe it was 8 dreadnoughts with hyperdrives. So this ship is basically that, except that they didn't have the middle housing part, and instead of the dreadnoughts, they just stripped the dreadnought parts away and attached straight up hyperdrives to it. So this thing is not going to be good for combat, but this thing will get you where you need to go. And I actually have a theory that the way it's designed might actually be either a ship is going to be in the center of it as it takes off, or maybe they're going to leave that empty for Thrawn's ship, the Chimera.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that too. Almost like a giant, because that's what it looks like, right? It's a giant.
It looks like a giant hyperdrive ring.
Yeah. So another thing that I thought was really cool in this one is the fact that she gets a comm from Skull, right?
Yeah.
But the comm it's a weird looking hologram. It's a little bit greeny than blue, but it's very. So I'm gonna pause for a second here. All of the holograms so far in this show have been way better than even the holograms we see in Mandalorian, right? Like, we've always seen these holograms look kind of shitty almost.
Well, you're sending it across, billions of miles of space.
Yeah, but you'd think it'd still be good to a degree. They've gotten very good in these episodes. Like, there's color in the hologram.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's like HD and like it looks really cool. So that's just a tidbit. I thought it looked really sick. It looked very alien rather than like Republic / imperialistic.
Yeah, this could be like an ancient design.
Yeah. So she calls to Skull and says, "The appearance of AHSOKA Tano on Cerelia troubles you."
Yes.
And Hades says, "Don't worry. They made a clear escape. Nothing's gonna happen. We're good. We're good. She couldn't follow us. There's no way."
Baylan Skull says through the Force he sees that her presence in the Force is elusive, yet her determination is vivid. She is coming. And Elsbeth says nothing can prevent their journey. And he responds, "To kill her would be a shame. There are so few Jedi left." And Morgan says, "Sentimental." And he says, "Truth," as they break comms. Which again leads me to go, I don't think that Baylan Skull is a Sith Lord. I do not believe that he is trying to be a Sith Lord. I really and truly do believe he is just trying to maintain power. And I think he really does think that, like, hey, maybe I can rebuild a Jedi Order under the Empire, which would be kind of cool if you think about it. Like people, basically turning them into like a more. In Legends, there was a faction called Imperial Knights that were Force sensitives who served the will of the Emperor in the far future. And they were not Jedi, but they were trained in light force techniques to protect their Emperor. And I think that's kind of a cool idea, actually, to have like, hey, these are people who use the Force, but they're not necessarily Darksiders. They're just kind of people who exist in the galaxy.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the episode.
So that was a really long one. There's a lot of conversations. There's a lot of lore in there. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. All right. So overall thoughts. Jaden, I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, I've already touched on it a lot when we talked about the discussion, but I really do think that this is setting up, again, more of this universe that Dave Filoni is trying to build in this scenario that he's creating. I think I'm gonna talk about my theory a little bit here with this. I think what's going on here is that Dave Filoni is trying to set up Thrawn as the big bad before the big bad of the sequel trilogies. I think he's trying to create a threat that very badly weakens the galaxy that will then allow the First Order to rise from the ashes.
Okay. I can see that.
I think that Thrawn we're going to see him win. I think we're going to see Thrawn win a lot. And I think Thrawn is going to basically bring the New Republic to its knees right before he gets defeated spectacularly. And that just leaves the New Republic desperately trying to recover and not able to oppose the rise of the First Order.
Do you think he's going to, one, show up very quickly in this series? And also, do you think he's going to get his ass kicked very quickly?
No.
There's only, what, like 8 episodes? Something like that?
So there's only 8 episodes in this show. I think what is going to happen is I think that he's going to show up in the 7th episode. He's going to return to the galaxy in the 8th episode and wreck shit. And I think that is setting up because the Filoniverse is what everyone's calling it, like the Disney Plus shows are ending with a movie, and that movie is called Star Wars: Heir to the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we are seeing this, that AHSOKA is setting up Thrawn's return. I think Mando season 4 is going to be the galaxy getting just their ass kicked by Thrawn. I think that's what it's going to be. And I think that, Heir to the Empire is going to be a movie that wraps everything up. And I think that it's going to set up the seeds of the First Order coming to power. And
hell yeah.
I think this episode did a great job of like exploring that idea, exploring how it's possible for something like the First Order to grow next to the New Republic. I still think it's hopefully maybe they'll make me more comfortable with it. But like for now, it still feels like, man, you guys really just it's like, they're not the Nazis. They're just the neo-Nazis. It's fine. It's like, no, it's not fine. What do you think, Kevin?
For me, I loved it. I thought it was really good. I liked the lore coming to light. That's such a dumb way to put it, but I mean, really, just seeing the map, going through Treasure Planet, seeing everything. I had a blast seeing all that shit. Like, it was just so cool. I really liked these quotes. Like, we have a lot of quotes written. We have a couple quotes written down, but we have a lot of quotes that we said during this because they were just so relevant to the scene that it wouldn't make any sense to not talk about. So I just thought the conversation piece and the relationships that they had were just explored really well. I love the whole, like, I'm ready, the callbacks to each conversation. The whole thing was great. I'm fascinated with this other galaxy. Give me more. That's as much as I don't want more because I know it's going to happen. I still want more. So I'm like, I want to see this. But yeah, so speaking of quotes, we do have a couple here, just a couple, not too many because we've pretty much said all of them.
Yeah.
But the first one is Hera and Sabine talking in the hospital. And Hera assures her, and she's like, you did good. And Sabine says, tell that to her, And Hera says, I do. Because she really does. And we know she does. Yeah. And then she says, but she's not the one who needs to hear it right now.
Yep.
And she's like, you did good. Ignore her. You did a really good job. And it's just that reassurance thing to, like, this whole episode is her coming to terms with, like, no, it's okay to fail. You did a really good job.
Come to terms with your own failure.
Yeah, but like your failures and mistakes are actually leading you to grow, and it's helping everybody because we're still here. We're still, changing things. And also Hera says, you're both difficult. I always thought that made it work, which I thought was really funny.
That's fun. I like that a lot. Yeah. Another one that we liked was an empire doesn't just become a republic overnight, which, again, you got to give me some more. You got to give me some more evidence to support the New Republic just being fat and complacent. I know it has real world implications, but I'm also like, man, but every time Germany sees a neo-Nazi rally start up, they fucking crush that shit, and I feel like that's what the Republic should absolutely be doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it feels like I don't know. It feels like we're letting a lot. It's one of those things where it's like we have to let it happen so the movies can happen, and I'm like, but it's dumb. It's very dumb.
Welcome to America. I mean, the New Republic. Sorry about that. Yeah.
And then another one we had was Sabine talking about her Jedi training. And she says, it doesn't matter. I never had the talents, the abilities, not like Ezra. And David Tennant is just like, that much is true. And she's like, thanks. And he goes, I have known many Padawans throughout the centuries, and I can safely say your aptitude for the Force would fall short of them all.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, wow, you're a fucking asshole. And she
Yeah.
says, oh, I won't waste any more of your of her time. And he says the only time you are wasting is your own, as he hands her lightsaber.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he because she's like, I'm not gonna waste Ahsoka's time, and he's like, no. After all these things that I'm saying here, here's your lightsaber. Like he still is like, nah, man, you're good, kid. Keep going. Don't give up.
Yeah, he's saying like, hey, like you're like, just because you don't have a good aptitude for it doesn't mean, you know, like, hey, they say with time you can be good at anything, and it's like, hey, you're just gonna start from zero. Like with enough time, anybody can become whatever they want. They just need to be able to put in the time.
And that's the thing. Like you may not have the aptitude for it, whatever. Right now, you don't have the attitude for it, because that's really the problem. Is it's your attitude.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I wrote for quotes just all the cursing from Chopper, because let's be real.
Oh God, it was so good.
The best quote out of everything. And then the last quote is when Ahsoka sees Sabine, and she says, "Nice haircut," and Sabine says, "It's more me." And that was that's a nice little teeny weeny quote that it's so good. It's relationship building. It's like great. Those two little lines work so well. Well, so final thoughts. I would say we're in it to win it with this show. We have a couple episodes left over.
Yep.
We're already almost a third through.
We got 6 more.
I will be gone for 2 episodes, mind you. Connor's going to be joining us here probably soonish.
Yes.
Our ancient
Jedi Master Connor will be descending. Yes, well, he has Mandalorian armor, so I guess he's our Mandalorian friend Connor will be jetpacking in.
He does. Yeah, I'll be gone for a wee bit, because I'll be in Ireland.
Yes.
But you guys are going to continue to discuss this stuff. But yeah, I'm excited, man.
Ireland's the one with the kangaroos, right?
Oh God. Yeah, the kangaroos. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, mm-hmm.
Okay. I know geography.
And with that, we hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please take a second to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It, of course, really helps us grow the show. And be sure to connect with us on Instagram and X at The Lost Cantina. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. And may the Force be with you.
Quit touching my stuff, Kevin.